I thought I would hop on ASAP just to quickly go through what we're going to be needing today. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of watercolouring, a bit of ink blending, and some work with some Inktense pencils. And we might even get round to some alcohol too, but that's probably going to be this afternoon. Okay, so I'm going to move these out of my way for a minute. And here's forgot to turn the sound down on the telly. Just press the mute button. It's on remote.
It's not on there, is it? It's on that.
Oh, that's why. So just press it on the keyboard. Oh dear. Nattie's fault. Nattie was playing with Spotify yesterday. So I've done...
Zena said morning.
Morning, Zena.
I will turn the auto comments off in a moment.
Yeah, we'll get there. So I've done a little bit of stamping for this morning. So I've done two ladies from Prima. This one's Natalie. Nice and easy for me to remember. Okay, I have Chocolate Brooks Butterfly Tree stamp and Creative Expressions Toadstool stamp. So I'm going to start off by trying to do a bit of masking. And that's so that we don't have to worry too much about when we're actually painting. So I'm just making sure that that's coming out nicely. Don't want to pump it too much if you don't have to. However, if you're finding that it's starting to struggle to come out, you can do a little. It's been a while since I've used this one, so it just needs to...
So it says you're just watching today, working on some stuff on canvas.
Okay. So it's a monotone masking pen I'm using. I'm sure Ian will pop up the details eventually. Looks quite scary because it comes out this lovely bright blue. And what I'll do once I've done this is I'll set this to one side to dry while we work on our ladies. So if you don't have the masking pen, you can always just go and stamp some ladies' necks.
The other camera.
Okay. If it's giving me the better angle, have a look and see.
Let's have a look.
Ian's man in the comments today, so if you do have any questions about anything that I do, please do ask. I don't mind repeating or going over things.
We have Nuala watching us as well.
Hi Noala. And I probably haven't pronounced that right either, so just tell me off. I'm sure it's Nuala, not... Okay.
Sarah morning. Tried to pay for the class on Saturday, but it comes up with an error. Any ideas, please?
Oh. No, but we can always do it outside of that actual item, couldn't we? And do it that way.
Yeah, I can do it manually, Sarah, so I'll have a look at it and I was going to say check on my phone, but it's
Yeah,
been
because
used.
we haven't had any transactions come through that way, have we? So
No.
it could be that there's an issue with the link. We've changed the website as well, haven't we, this morning?
Yeah.
So if you saw that there was a post that went up at the weekend, which I had put, so you could only get it if you accessed it through our membership. I've taken that off and just put buy me a coffee instead. It's just easier and less confusing. So just on my toadstool, I'm just going to do the windows too. Just to help me try and keep that white window
Yeah, I'll
frame.
drop you a private message after the live.
can also do the same just with these leaves when it's going out over the sky. Everything alright?
Yeah.
So I'm just doing like little flicks, and they probably won't line up exactly, but they'll be close enough. You do have quite a big tip on this one. So if you do want to get into detail, you can just use a ruling pen and just some normal masking fluid. But this one's quite a good, handy little pen to take out and about as well when we do get out to go out painting again. So I'm just going to set that to dry. So now if I bring in my ladies, and I'm going to do a little bit of work with the background on these. So I thought later on what we could do is we could concentrate on the different scanning functions on the Scan & Cut. So I'm going to be doing a bit on the background scanning and also on the direct cutting. So I've already cut a mask for each of my ladies, and I've just used the post-it note tape again.
Where's the toadstool from now?
Creative Expressions.
Ah, there we go. So Sarah Miss Stokes from.
I'll just place this and I will. So as usual with your mask, you want to cut it just inside your black line to prevent the halo going round. And just for Sarah Lou, it is the Willoughby Woods Collection Toadstool Penthouse.
There it is, thank you.
So with our mask pressed down, I'm going to start off with, let's go for this one. So I thought this looked like quite a fun image, and it made me think a bit of 80s, a bit different. So I thought I'd go a bit funky colours with it. So I have this great guitar stencil, and it has lots of hidden little bits, like a hidden treble clef. It's clever, very, very clever. So I'm just working out which angle is best to get most detail. Okay, when you're happy, if you can see, you want to apply a bit of tape. So it's okay, I've got some here. Use up what's hanging around on the desk.
You can have it on there anyway.
Thank you.
If you need a bevel.
I'm just going to pop that one there. And let's start actually, before I go straight to the blue, I'm going to go to the pink first.
So what's the pink?
The pink is Picked Raspberry Distress Oxide. You want to just go careful that you don't go over your edge here. This is quite a big brush to be doing this with, but we're going to come back in and use it for the background in a minute. So the card that I'm using is stamping card. So this will take the blending quite well.
Whose stamping card is it?
It's Kanban's, as was. It's old, very old. Getting through the stash now. So now I'm taking a smaller brush and I'm going into Blueprint Sketch Distress Oxide for this one. And you'll see that it starts to lift off the remaining colour on your stencil as well, so it blends in your colours. So what we're aiming for eventually is that you get like a nice purpley colour.
Morning, Sandra. We got our brushes off Amazon. Is there still a link to our Amazon store?
Yes, there is a link on the group for the Amazon store.
Okay, so if you go on the group, there's a link to our Amazon store, and there is a link there to a set of brushes that you can get, which are the same ones as these.
They haven't got the rose gold ones in stock, I don't believe. Last time I checked, they just had the black.
£10, are they? A bit more? Can't remember.
They're just under £10.
Yeah, just under £10.
And you get a nice set of them, so you can get all the detail ones and the kind of eyeliner ones, as I call them, as well as your main paddle brushes. So I've just taken my stencil off, and now we can go back to our pink, and we can start to do something a little bit funky in this background. So I'm not going to say it like we'll do a gradient for this. It needs something a bit different because it's supposed to be she's quite jazzy. And let's go over here and we'll go this way. And finally, let's just do something down here.
It says they look much easier to work with than Daubers, etc.
Oh yes, yes, that's one of the reasons why I like them so much. They're also a lot easier to keep clean. So this is just a bamboo sheet. It's been well used and abused. You can wash it, rewash it, and just go time and time again. It's brilliant. And you can get those from Wilko's. So just a little squirt of water and just run your brush through it, and that takes all the ink off. And we can change colour. So I'm going to the Squeeze Lemonade now.
Don't you move your picture across a little bit more here? Sweetie. Just move the picture back across because you're off.
Am I? Okay, there you go.
You can see you on the top one but not on the close up.
Oh dear. So let's go back to my yellow again. A bit down here. Smudging that bit, but it doesn't matter at this stage. It is background after all. And if you want to tidy it up after, you can always go back to your stencil and just pop over another layer. Just going to pop a little bit of the peacock just there by a foot. Another one just here. Because it's a darker colour, you don't need to. What?
So just a small cuppa today.
I don't have cups of teas, I have buckets.
Yeah.
Okay. That far over. Okay.
Yeah, because you're off the bottom.
In which case then I'll put the inks this side just to make my life a bit easier so I have a bit
That's
more
better.
room.
Yeah.
There we go. So, it's going to go back over my stencil just because I've lost a bit of the vibrancy of that colour in places, so I just want to top that back up. There we go. Just stick the So I'm just going to go back to my blueprint sketch.
That's quite a good view then, not that?
Okay, let's put a bit more water on that, just to...
Zena says you also don't like a builder's brew, nice and strong.
Nope. Nope. I like my tea nice and like milky. Usually cold by the time I get it.
That's cold.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna go on with the pink. Now the stress oxides have a tendency more to the opaque side of things, which is great for doing techniques like this. So you can layer colour, whereas the normal distress inks tend to just multiply. So once the colour's gone on there, it's not going to get any lighter. Okay, so I'm just going to clean my stencil before I go too far. So again, we can use the bamboo cloth for that.
Zena says you, not nice.
Also has 2 sugars in it.
It does.
I would say to get me going in the morning, but I haven't even had a chance to drink it yet, so can't really say that. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can fill off our masking. Which is cool. Now you will have little bits in there, and if you want to you can trim your mask. I just didn't want to do that this morning because we were running out of time as it was between everything. So, let's think. I'm going to go with...
That way touch. Oh, no, that's okay. It's all right.
What?
So I was going to say that way touch, but you're right.
Oh,
If you
sorry.
keep it within... What can I say?
Hang on. Let me do me tape.
Keep it within 13.
Okay, there we go. There you go, you can tell me off now if I don't
Got your
manage
pink
it.
line.
So I'm just going to go with a watercolour brush and just dampen it slightly.
Zena likes it.
Then I have a splodge mat, so that's handy for using as a palette as well.
Show your brush.
I have my brush, I have water. So I'm going to put a little bit of each colour on my palette. If you have the re-inkers, you can use them for this also. You don't have to squidge it out of your pad then. So I'm just going to set that off screen, but you'll know it's there. So just to tidy up in here, I'm going to go to the yellow. And it won't match exactly, but be close enough to just do the suggestion of it continuing. And then we've got sort of yellow pink in there, so I'm going to pull out a bit of the yellow and a tiny bit of the pink, just to tint colour slightly. A bit more pink. Being overly cautious there. Okay. So now we're looking at doing her clothes first, I think, then skin after. So let's go with a bit more water, and I'm going to go be brave and go into the pink. So I'm literally going to go all over to start with, and then I can come back with some more concentrated colour to do the shading. So I'm just going to drop that in underneath the ruffles. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this side. Go back to our pale pink. Damn with my head in the way.
No, so it's quite a good view, that side one.
Even if you do say so. Then back into a darker pink.
Don't start.
My, what's it doing?
Looks like it's frozen, but no, it's still going. So it could
Okay.
just be my.
Just let us know if you can see us and hear us okay.
It could just be mine needs refreshing. It's just me.
It's just you. I'll see. Can't get the computers going. So, now I'm going to pull out a bit of the picked raspberry and a bit of the blueprint sketch, so we get the purple going on. Okay, and just to tie in up here, I'm going to put a bit more purple around there. So we can go back into our blueprint sketch and we can just drop just blueprint sketch into the shadow, and same in here. I'm just going to put a little tiny bit just down the edge there. Okay, so far so good. So she's definitely going all that 80s because everything's just going to be weird colours. So now I've picked a bit of the peacock. Now going back to the blueprint sketch to do my shadow. So to start with, because the amount of water on my brush is going to be quite subtle. And I'm just literally just touching the very edge just to give it that rounded form. Just going to go on this edge again, a little bit just there. There we go. Just tidy that bit up. Now if we blot our paintbrush dry, every time, I think I've got a magnet for the floor, I think. Just gonna move a bit. It's a neat blueprint sketch. I'm just going to do the same right along this edge here. Okay. So, let's go green boot, because we can.
Thank you for a green footprint.
Oh dear. Definitely channeling a real 80s. You'd be glad to know we're going for something a bit more traditional with the next one.
I don't know, I like the funky ones.
So this is just the blueprint sketch on its own, with quite a bit of water. It's very quiet there today.
Outside.
Ah, online I was meaning.
Oh no, they're all fascinated.
Dropping a bit more of the blueprint sketch just so we've got a bit of shading going on. And once it's dry we can always come back and add another layer if we want to. Hair. Right, let's go. Proper all out. 80s pink hair Rubicon. So, into our picked raspberry. And I've blotted my brush off so it should be fairly strong.
Excuse me.
Nope.
I know.
Yeah. Not allowed to yawn. Not boring.
I didn't say you were, I'm just tired.
skin colour or not the skin colour, that is the question. So I've added a tiny bit of that picked raspberry to the remainder of my squeeze lemonade, and we'll see how we go. It's not bad, it's not bad.
No, it's just I spend too much time doing not much, and it's just making me more tired than if I do what I normally do.
Yeah, you're getting tired, aren't you, easily? Have you taken your tablet today?
Not today.
That won't be helping.
I took it yesterday and the day before.
Yeah, and it won't do you any good in the bottle, will it?
I'll take it after.
I should be getting your legs smacked.
Yeah.
Probably have a queue of people to smack your legs.
So, yeah. You'll be able to smack my legs.
Okay, so I'm just giving my palette a quick clean with a bamboo cloth, just in case I decide I need to use it for its intended purpose as a blending background. Okay. So I'm just going to pop that into there, just in case I decide to. And if I go back to my lady stamps, and a mask cut for this one too. I swear, around here they think, it's 11 o'clock, you know what that means? Let's all go bark bang doors. So it's all full blast. So with this one, I'm going to work some my images off to the side.
The thing is, you notice how that first, she tends to drop off around 3 for an hour every day. I don't tend to sleep in the day, do I? I'm just
No.
lethargic more than anything. Hmm?
Yeah. It's called not taking your iron tablets.
They're not iron tablets.
They are.
Folic acid.
Well, same difference. What do we do with iron on top? Just make you go,
Doctors suspect I'm pregnant. Take my folic acid in my iron.
Right, so this time I'm going to go a bit more classic, and I'm going to be working with the Distress ink rather than the oxide for this one.
Mind you, I haven't had a drink today yet.
So I'm using a nice big paddle brush, and I might just have to re-ink me antique linen again. Being a bit too subtle, that. Mind you, it's not doing bad for its age. What was it we worked out it was the other day? 20 years old, was it?
Something like that,
just check you have enough coverage. Okay. So then we can actually tile this one. So if we go maybe there, that should be enough. And make sure you get the right brush. Which one was it? Was it that one? Technical way of checking that. Go for it. There we go. So next I'm going to bring in, these are the Pergamano sticky stencils, and I'm going to go for this nice swirly one. And I'm going to go back there. Now how sticky these still are, they're probably about the same age as the Distress Pad. Yeah, the stick's starting to go, bless them.
Sticking back to your fingers.
Yeah, sticking back to me than it is to the paper. But we'll hold it there and we'll go carefully with it. So I'm just going to go kind of all over it so we get like a panel in the same antique linen. And just because my finger was there, I'll brush it this way too. Okay. Then I'm going to bring in my brush corduroy. And I'm going to grab one of the little detail brushes. So that I can actually work into places in the stencil. So these are useful for if you want to do like multicolour stenciling like this, or if you've got really detailed image that you want to ink blend with. And then you can peel that back. There we go. And just for good measure, a bit more of the brush corduroy, and I'm going to go underneath her feet so she doesn't look like she's floating. And you can even add Okay, so again, you could have cut up your mask, but for this one again, it's just a case of I'll just a bit more. And you can always just tap it off on your blending mat, so you can just then go in with light coverage, and you can always pick a bit more off the mat and just blend it in like so. So now for this one I'm going to do a bit of watercolour. And you don't have to have expensive watercolours. And you don't even have to have as many colours as I have. You can just go over the standard 12 if you wish. So I'm just going to pick up a tiny bit of that orange. I should say that the images were stamped with Jane Davenport squid ink in black. So they'll take pretty much anything I throw at them.
What's the pack you're using for the paints? Your Arteza, isn't it?
Yeah, the Arteza 36. I think they're back in stock now. I'm just going to take some of that brightness out of there. Blend it in down here. Just because we don't want it to dry too dark. Put a bit more there. Just so she doesn't get any white patches in the hair. Nobody wants that.
More distinguished lady.
Yeah, but random white patches we don't want. As we look like we've been painting the ceiling. I'm just going to go back into the orange and do a little line of it just at the base of her skirt, and another one just to the side of her leg, and just down here at her toe as well. So that's to give the feeling that they're crossing over, and then on this leg here we'll just blend that colour downwards to say it's behind. And just a little bit underneath the sleeves, and I think I'm happy with that. So next, I'm going to go for her belt, I think. So let's go for a bit of the chocolate. And then I'm going to go just slightly darker shade. I'm going to draw it into our still wet paint. It's tricky keeping it wet enough at the moment because it's so hot. There we go. And a little tiny bit just in that gap there. If need be, you can always go back to our lighter brown. Just going to block my brush a bit because I don't want it too wet. And then we can blend that back out. brown, just to go back into the darkest places like so.
Jen says, "Wow, Natalie, you're one talented lady. Are you self-taught?"
Yes and no. I used to craft a lot with my mum, who I believe is watching. Hi, Mum. Then, well, actually no, it's not then. I used to draw a lot with my mum. Then I went to art college and did graphic design. Then at the end of that, which would have been 98, 99, was when we actually first got our first stamp. So I came to crafting sort of just as I was going to uni. But by that point I'd already done fashion and textiles, is where I originally started at art college, and yeah, that didn't last very long. I was doing graphics by the end of the first year. Not because I don't like fashion, as you can tell, but
Sarah says your teeth getting cold.
yeah, they're whitening them. As I said, that's normal. At least not dunking my brush in it.
Give it time.
So what time are we on?
Just come to 12.
Okay. Well, if we don't get round to the other two sheets, I'll do those this afternoon, because they'll give the masking fluid plenty of time to dry.
Why would I do it that way? Just finish that one, then do those two later.
Yeah. Just going to go into the dark brown now and go back into our brown area. One there.
Leave with a white dress.
Huh?
Leave with a white.
Yeah, I might leave her with a white dress.
It does make it pop a bit because it's white and stands out.
Yeah. I leave her with white hair too.
No, you can paint her.
Just in here. And we can get back to our brown. Soften that up a bit. Every time. We're just going back with just a clean damp brush just to blend it all in. So I'm going to do her hair and let that dry for a bit, because I have plans. Oh dear. Dum dum dum.
That's real wicked.
Have to behave. Must behave. Oh, what's the message?
3.
Oh. I was worried then in case it was Mum saying, we've lost you.
That's me was machine texting.
So, hopefully, that will have dried enough to be able to, let's go for this one. This looks like it could be fun. So I'm going to do the skirt first and then do the body second. So I've popped on my stencil and just to help me out a bit, I'm going to pop on a bit of masking just where I don't want the ink to go. Just a little bit, just there. If it goes over those tiny bits, I'm not too bothered. And I'm going to go bring my distress ink back in. So gone back to my antique linen. Now, because we're suggesting the shape of the form, you're going to want to do it so it's at least kind of looking a bit cylindrical. So let's get a bit more ink on that. There we go. And then work from off my sheet and onto my stencil. Okay. Where's the masking bit? There we go. One pattern skirt. And if you want to, and you can get a detailed section, you can do the same for her top. So what I'm going to do is actually use the stencil in my favour, and then all I have to do is just mask one side of her there. And just there. And we can go back to the antique linen again. the brush cord where you just, this is where it gets a bit tricky just because of that edge, just there, and a bit just on this side here. There we go, and we can go, ta-da! That's one of the reasons why I love using stencils. Okay, so in the meantime our masking fluid is dried and that's ready to go.
We'll leave that till later.
Yeah.
So carry on this afternoon.
Yep. So this afternoon I'm going to finish off colouring these. Then I'm going to make some sentiments and some shadows. Cut these into shapes ready for my card. And then off screen I'll do them all together and put them up on the blog and on the group.
Cool. So we'll be back at 2. Don't forget Lou's just started at 12, though I've not seen a notification saying she's just started.
She might not be today.
So she might not be today if she's doing bits of her chanda. Pete's on at 12:30 with his giveaway. And then we'll be back at 2. I think Leslie's also on at 1:30 today as well with Chocolate Baroque.
Yeah.
Well, all stay safe. Have a nice afternoon or evening, depending where you are. And we will see you all a little bit later.
Bye for now.